Okay, so before lunch, this is where we left off. So let's just do a really kind of quick recap. We are in the process of trying to learn the exact steps that we take with this PEMDAS step. Okay, so as we know, kind of looking back over each of the steps of the order of operation, we know that we have to do the parentheses first because the P is the first letter of PEMDAS. You always do parentheses first, everybody, okay? Even if the parentheses are like all the way at the end of the problem, they're all the way down here on the right side of the problem, you have to do the parentheses first. So just in your mind, think, do P first, okay? P comes first, okay? Think of it that way, all right? Okay? Now, if there is no P, then you do E, all right? Listen. All right. Now, the E, as we've already kind of experimented and played with a little bit, that's the exponent stuff. This is stuff that's somewhat a little bit new to you guys, so you need to kind of be careful with that. But earlier, before lunch, we kind of talked about how to solve for exponents, how to find out what an exponent is actually equal to. The M, the D, the A, and the S, that's where things kind of then start to work in pairs. So we have these two little like nuggets of information here that helped us to remember that when we get to that section of PEMDAS, so if it's PEMDAS, the multiplication and the division, they're a group, they go together. You always do what's on the left side of the problem first. So if the sign happens to be the multiplication sign, then you're going to do the multiplication first. If it happens to be the division sign, then you do the division first. So you just got to be really careful that you don't reverse it and do the wrong order, because otherwise you're not going to get to the right answer, okay? The other partner is the addition and the subtraction. They also work as a team, and they also work left to right. So the question before lunch came from Rory, and she asked me, so do you always do multiplication and division before addition and subtraction? What would you answer to her? Max?
You do multiplication and division before addition? No.
You always do, yes. So no, there's no way. You always do parentheses first. Once you've done all the parentheses, you then move on to the exponents. If there aren't any exponents, you then move on to multiplication or division. Whatever is in that problem, that's multiplication and division, you have to do all of the multiplication and all the addition first. So if there's an example, like 3 times 5 plus 1, what would you have to do first, everybody?
3 times 5.
3 times 5. Because the multiplication or division must come before the addition and the subtraction. So this is what you would do first, okay? Once you've done all the multiplication and the division, then you're ready to start looking at the addition and subtraction stuff. And again, you work those left to right. Is this making sense up to this point? What?
Yes. Well, how you said that you always do multiplication, division before addition, subtraction. Would you still do multiplication and division before, like there's a different problem in the parentheses, or do you have parentheses?
If parentheses are a different story, you always do parentheses first.
Yeah.
So if there's addition inside the parentheses always come first. So whatever's in there is what you do first. So, good question. Yeah.
If you had a problem and then division came first, would you
Like it was on the left?
like if division came first before multiplication, could you still do the division first?
Yes, ma'am. So her question looks like, I think if I'm understanding what she's saying, is like, let's just say you have 14 divided by 6 plus 2 times 3. Okay? Her question is, in this example, I don't see any parentheses. Do you?
No.
Do you see any exponents?
No.
So we've reached the multiplication and division group. I got to do which first, because I see some multiplication way down here, but I see some division over here. What am I going to do first, Olivia?
So you need to go back to it, so you do 14 divided by 6.
Thank you, which this was a bad example because 14 divided by 6 is not going to come out even. So let's just, for this example, let's change this to a 7. Okay, but we are going to do this first because as Olivia said, it's on the left. Okay, so I'm going to put parentheses around this because my brain knows automatically parentheses comes first. I got to do the P first. So the stuff in that P is 14 divided by 7. Okay, that's, don't get too silly. Go ahead and accept the silly so that we can use the sillies to learn. 14 divided by 7, everybody, is 2. Okay, so we're going to work through a problem here in a second that's just like this. But that hopefully helps to answer your problem. Okay, now let's just finish this problem out. And we're going to learn how to do this in a second. But when we solve these big problems like this that involve more than just one math operation, now what we have to do is bring down all the stuff that we haven't used yet. So in the original problem, what have I not used yet? Emily, tell me what I haven't used. I haven't used the 2 times the 3. Have I used this plus sign? No, so I better bring that down too. So now I have a whole new problem. I have 2 plus 2 times 3. How do I know what I do next? Cassie? So she thinks I'm going to do the addition first, but let's look at PEMDAS. PEMDAS says I do parentheses. I don't have any. Exponents. I don't have any. Multiplication, division. Do I have it?
Yes.
Yes. I got to do that next because I'm still here in multiplication and division. I haven't done all my multiplication and division yet. So what am I going to do next, Cassie? 2 times 3, which is 6. Bring down what's left. What's your final answer to this baby going to be? 8. Okay. This is starting to seem like it's making a small amount of sense. What?
A lot of sense. If you did like 14 divided by 6, and that's even, so what would you do for the
Okay, so her question was, if I would have, please stop coming over here. If I would have kept this as a 6, like I accidentally kind of had it, she wants to know what would we have done. Well, we would have ended up with, right now in your world, you would have ended up with a remainder. But here in a little bit, not today, but in a future chapter, I'm going to teach you how to turn a remainder into a decimal. So you would have just gotten an answer that would have had a decimal in it. And then you would have had to have added a decimal or multiplied a decimal. See that?
Like, now that'd be confusing. So 14 divided by 6, you just put 2, like, you just do make it the closest thing, which would be like.
You won't get a problem like that right now because you haven't been taught how to divide decimals yet. So that's why I fixed it so where it would not work out uneven.
Okay.
Okay.
We don't even have to worry about that.
Not yet, no. But we will get to that, but later chapters. Okay. All right. So let's practice one. That's the best way that we figure out how to do this stuff is by literally practicing them. Okay. So I'm going to take you to a screen here. It's got 3 practice problems on it. We're going to start with the first one. And it looks like this. Now, I'm not going to set you on your own yet because you're all going to maybe get to the finish line with a different answer. So we're going to walk through this together. I'm going to do one step at a time and you're going to copy my steps. But the first thing you should just be doing is copying that problem onto your notebook paper. Now, one thing I will say, we do have to kind of learn, and I hate to say this, but we got to learn how to kind of take notes and write a little bit faster in class, okay? When our class is already kind of short, we can't waste a lot of time making beautiful notes. I think it's great that your notes are beautiful, but if it's taking you a long time to write because your notes are so beautiful, you have to kind of like realize you don't have to have beautiful notes. You just got to have the stuff there. What?
So if it's parentheses, then you need to answer. Would you have to bring down parentheses?
So we're gonna talk about this. Can you just hang on just a second? You're kind of jumping ahead, all right? All right. So let's think about PEMDAS. PEMDAS says, what do we do first? Henry, what do we do first?
You divide 49.
I do what first? PEMDAS, P. What do I do first?
49 divided by 7.
But why am I doing that first?
Because
There you go. Because this problem has parentheses, and PEMDAS tells me I always do the parentheses first. So now inside that parentheses, Henry sees 49 divided by 7. He's got to know, what is 49 divided by 7? Henry, what is it? So underneath that parenthesis, okay, I'm going to write what the answer is to that problem. Parentheses are kind of like a box. You're opening up the box and finding out the answer that's on the inside. So Max's question was, once we opened up that box and got our answer of a 7, do we need the box anymore? No. You've used it. You're done. You did the stuff that's inside, and that's what we needed. Connor G. Why don't I see you doing this stuff like everybody else is doing? And we're recording this lesson. All right, let's figure out what we do next. We just practiced one a minute ago. Who wants to tell me, what do I do next? Braden. You have to. And some of you are going to say, no, I can do this in my head. Do I really have to bring all this stuff down? Yes, you do, because you're 5th graders. When you become a 6th or a 7th grader, do as much of it in your head as you want. But this is a new skill. You're not ready to do this in your head. And I also want to see your process. I want to see the steps you've taken. And if you don't write it all out for me, I'm not going to be able to see what you did. Okay? So as Braden said, now we've got to bring down everything else in the problem we haven't used. We haven't used this multiplication sign, so I'm going to bring it down. We haven't used a 2, so I'm going to bring it down. On the other side of the parentheses, we haven't used the plus sign, we haven't used the 4, and we haven't used the 10. It just froze up because that's would be what it would want to do. Right? Oh my gosh. I don't have time for this. Hold on, you all. Let me try to restart. Sorry. But hopefully you all have your 10 there, right? Okay, so while you're waiting for mine to reload, go ahead kind of in your mind and have an idea as to what you think you're going to do next, okay? Because there is going to be a step that we do next, looking at all of those things that we have. Hopefully I don't have any issues with it all loading back to me. All right, let me get back where we're supposed to be, you all. Sorry. Okay, so let's get everybody back where we were, people at home, so that they can see. So we had our 7, and we brought down everything else that was still left in the problem. Okay, so who came up with what they think we should do next? Now you gotta remember the order that we're supposed to do things. Do you all see any parentheses right now in this new line of problems?
No.
No. Do you see any exponents?
No.
Do you see any multiplication?
Yes.
Yes. So which one should we do first, Brody?
You do the 10 times 4 first.
Why?
Because you have to go left to right.
Okay, now honestly, Brody, it really doesn't matter. You could do the other one first too, but I like just keeping our brain doing it the right way, which is left to right. So let's go ahead and do what you said, then start on the left, okay? So let's do 10 times 4. What's 10 times 4, Brody?
4.
And what am I going to do, Brody, with all that other stuff that I haven't used yet? Bring it on down. So now I'm making a new line of numbers. You all following what I'm doing?
Yes.
Don't zone off. Don't let me lose your focus. Okay? The minute I lose your focus is the minute you're going to be lost. Okay? So now I've got 40 plus 7 times 2. What am I going to do now? Have I finished my multiplication and division yet?
No, you haven't finished, your multiplication.
So what do I do next?
Now you do 7 times 2, which is 14.
Excellent. So notice how I keep putting these parentheses. Every time you all tell me what to do next, you see how I keep putting those parentheses around that? That's because my brain is like boxing out that stuff. It's like, okay, let's do this next. And your brain naturally knows with order of operation that PEMDAS comes first because of the P. Okay, so that's what you guys need to do is make sure that you know those orders. Okay, what's 7 times 2?
It's 14.
14. What are you going to do next?
Then you're gonna add 40 to 14.
Well, let's bring down the stuff first that we haven't used, which is the 40 and the 14. And now that's all we're left with, which is just 40 plus 14. I'll try to squeeze that in there. Let me move it down a little bit. Okay. So we're left with our 40 plus our 14. And what do we get when we add, Allie, 40 plus 14?
It's 54.
It is. It's 54. And that becomes your final answer. Now, when I talk about wanting to see your steps in your process, this should sort of look like kind of a tornado once it gets to the finish line. Everything should funnel itself down to that final number. I had kids in the other classroom wanting to kind of write their new line of information way over here on the side. You're going to get confused and lost. Keep it organized. Work piece by piece so that when it's all done, your answer kind of is funneled right to the bottom like a tornado. Okay, what?
When I was little, like in like first grade, my daddy tried to write the problems like this, and that division, like it was just addition and subtraction, like a little bit of multiplication.
Yeah.
But I used to do a lot of these.
And when you see this, when you see problems like this, the thing that kids kind of like them, what you like about them, is that none of the math inside of here is hard. 10 times 4 is not hard. 49 divided by 7 is not hard. Multiplying by 2 is not hard. But if you don't do things in the right order, you're going to get an answer. It's just probably not going to be the right one. Okay? So, how about you try one on your own?
Yeah.
Okay? All right. Your next problem that I'm going to show you is this problem right here.
Oh, that's.
Now, some of you are looking at this problem. Some of you are looking at this problem and you're already somewhat afraid of it.
What's that?
So first off, I want you to copy it down. So here's what it says. 10 to the third power, that's a 3, so there's an exponent, minus 4 times 200 plus, now this thing back here at the back, this thing's looking like a fraction, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
On the top of the fraction is a math problem. 19 minus 3. On the bottom is a 4. So, what I want you to do, what I want you to do is take 2 minutes and try to get an answer. Some of you are possibly going to get so nervous, you're going to be like, I don't know what to do. Some of you are going to think you get this. Take what I just did with you in the problem up above, your order of operations, and just work in pieces. Work one little piece at a time, and then you'll find an answer at the finish line. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. what you're probably experiencing as you're kind of working through this problem is that none of the math in this problem is really that difficult. But it's making sure that you do everything in the right order. That's why at the start of the year I said it's like baking a cake. If you mix all the ingredients together and put it in the oven, and then take the cake out after it's already cooked, and then try to stir in the eggs, you're gonna get a cake. It's just gonna be gross. Right. So in this problem, you're all gonna get an answer. It's just, is your answer the right one?
What's the last thing again? I forgot what that was.
This thing right down here, this thing is actually a fraction. On the top of the fraction is 19 minus 3, and on the bottom is a 4. Okay?
That'd be negative.
That's a good problem. Doing something
I mean, if you have 19 pieces of candy and somebody takes 3 away, you can do. Okay, there's your 2 minutes. Now, I'm just curious. Who thinks they got an answer and they're confident to say, hey, I think I might have it. I think I might know what it is. Who wants to kind of give me what they got? What'd you get?
500.
All right, let's write some of these ideas down. So Allie's got a 500. Anybody get something different? What'd you get? Max, you've been like really anxious. What do you got?
824.
824, okay. Who else got something? James?
I got 200.4.
224?
200.4.
200.4. Okay. What'd you get, Brendan?
790.
790? I'll take 2 more. What'd you get? 4? Okay. Addison, you're the last one.
I got 216 fourths. I don't.
That's okay. 216 and over a 4?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Nope, there's our options. Okay. Now, did any of you get one of those? Anybody get something different? Okay. What'd you get?
I was thinking in my head. I got 216.4.
You got 2. What'd you get?
764.
764. What'd you get? 775. What'd you get?
10,220.
What? 10,220? What'd you get?
I got 18.
18? All right. Well, look, we're all over the place.
I got the one
So, how about we figure out? Did anybody get it? And if so, how did they do it? All right. So, what we're gonna do, I'm gonna walk through how to solve this. You're gonna watch your steps, and you're gonna see if you did it the way I did.
Did the other people at Sherry get it right?
Can't tell you that. You have to wait and see.
I just forgot how to do fraction.
Here we go. First step. Who can tell me what should I have done first? Tessa? I should have done the exponents first. I don't see any parentheses here, but I do see an exponent. So I'm going to block out this stuff here because that's what I want to do first. Tessa, what is 10 to the 3rd power equal to? What? Yes, 1,000. Beautiful, Tessa. How many of you did that part right? Good. Did any of you say that that was 30? Spank yourself. You don't do 10 times 3. No, we talked about that before lunch. Okay? So, if you said this was 30, guess what? You didn't get it right. Okay? Because it should be 1,000. And now what should we do? Everybody? Say it all together.
Bring everything down.
Good. Bring everything else down. Minus 4 times 200 plus this weird 19 minus 3 over 4 thing. Okay. Anybody got any idea what I'm going to do next? Do you see? May I see no parentheses? I see no exponents. Brady, what do you think?
4 times 200.
Why?
Because you have to do multiplication because everything else is either addition or subtraction, so you gotta do multiplication first.
You're right. We are going to do that next. However, I'm going to tell you something. This stuff right here, people, that's division.
What?
Okay.
I knew it.
Fractions are division. I want you to look at, check this out. It's amazing what they do in the math world, okay? This right here, you call a what kind of a sign? Division sign. If I replace those with numbers, it's still division, okay? Now wait a minute. Just because you knew that was division doesn't necessarily mean you got the answer, okay? But Brady was trying to tell us that we have to do multiplication next because everything else is multiplication or addition or subtraction. Technically, he was wrong there because this stuff right here, that's division, okay? So there is some division, but because you work multiplication and division left to right, Brady, you are right. This comes next. So you are right. Cool. So Brady, what is 4 times 200? It is. So underneath that, I'm going to write my 800. And then Brady, what do you suggest I do next? Bring everything else down. So I've got my minus, I've got my 1,000, I've got my plus. I still got this weird 19 minus 3 over 4 thing. Okay.
Now that you said that's the
Woo!
vision, I can.
Anybody know what to do next? Shane. Yes, because I have some division still looking at me. Fractions are division, so this is going to come next. But guess what? You can't play with that fraction yet because the top number is still a mystery. What's 19 minus 3, Shane? 16. So guess what? I'm going to rewrite this thing as 16 over 4. Because I can't solve a division problem if I have another math problem sitting in the way. Y'all see why I did that? And then I'm going to bring everything else down. Okay? All right. Now, what am I going to do next? Brennan?
Pretty sure you're going to do fractions.
Yes, I am. Because that's division. Fractions are division. And I have to do all the division before I do any addition or subtraction. So, Brennan, 16 over 4. Remember, this is just a division problem. What is 16 divided by 4? It is 4. Okay? So, I'm going to move this down a little bit. I'm running out of space. So, I'm going to kind of move this problem, you guys, over to the side. I don't recommend you all do that. You would keep going, but I ran out of space. So, over here, I'm going to move my problem. I've got 1,000 minus 800 plus, and Brandon, what did you just tell me 16 divided by 4 was? 4. Okay. So now I have 1,000 minus 800 plus 4. What am I going to do next? What am I going to do next?
You're going to do 1,000 minus 800
Why?
because you work left to right.
Excellent. Now I'm in the addition and subtraction section, and I got to do what's on the left. What's 1,000 minus 800?
200.
200. Bring down the little bitty stuff that's left, which is plus 4. What's 200 plus 4?
204.
200. Who got it?
I got it right.
Woo! Go get your piece of candy if you got it. Hey. Okay, now, those of you, listen. Now, I know that was a toughie. But I don't want to let you all not have a chance. So, the next class is ready to happen. This one right down here underneath, okay? Now look. Hang on. This problem right here. Listen, friends. You're going to see some of these tonight on your homework assignment. It's got a variable in it. Variable is a letter. This is not tough. All you have to do is replace. It's telling you what your variable is supposed to really be. So it tells you n is supposed to be equal to 32. So in this problem, you're just going to put 32 where n is in the problem. And then solve. Okay?
Before you finish solving, I got the answer. I already did it. Is that fair or not?
Oh,
yeah. Well, that's not fair. I already did it.
Okay,
It is fair.
so in this problem, I'm gonna leave you kind of alone to solve this one. And at the end of the day, when you give me your answer, you can get your candy, okay? Tonight, your homework assignment is going to be to complete workbook pages 69 and 70. Only. Hang on just a second. Okay. All right. Let me stop our recording.